Right, there are about 120 of you here from what I understand, and we've got about half an hour to discuss these recommendations. That gives us about 3.5 people per minute if you all want to talk. So basically the message is, if you want to talk, put your hands up. We'll get to as many of you can, and just if you want to talk, make sure we hear your voices. A lot of you come a long way here today, and I want to hear all the points you've got to raise. Felly, awn ni mlaen at yr drafodaeth gyntaf. We'll go on to the first recommendation. Can I have that from Group 1 then, please, who are going to be proposing an amendment to the original proposal that this plenary notes the work of our committees on childhood obesity. That's where we start. So can we have the first recommendation from Group 1, please? Joshua, can I ask you? Just if you turn your mic on, you can remain seated and we can all hear you then.
We recommend that the Welsh Government should provide schools with money to improve their gym facilities so that pupils take their exercise outside lesson times. There should be allocated time specifically for young people. Money should also be provided for their maintenance. We should also encourage schools to think creatively about sport and exercise, and if implemented, these ideas could lead to less stress on NHS resources in the long run.
Okay, lovely, thank you. If you could just close your mic for a second then. A whopper of a recommendation to start us off. Can I ask Maria there, you were from Group 1 as well, why do you think this is important? Why is it important, this recommendation you've put forward?
Well, I think it is important because if the child obesity is such a massive issue and it should be fixed, but our main idea is for government to give subsidies to schools in order to improve their facilities. But I think it's very important because it is childhood obesity is a massive issue that should be fixed.
Okay, lovely, thank you. So that proposal, a recommendation, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the main focus there is to put money into gym facilities, yes? In group 1, I've got you all here. So gym facilities should be improved in order to tackle obesity. Do you all agree on that? Does anybody disagree that the priorities are wrong there? More people from Group 1 there, you there. Do you want to add to this? Why are you so convinced that gym facilities are the way forward to tackling obesity?
I think that it's a good idea to put money into gyms because kids find it hard to exercise in front of people in PE lessons, so it's nice for them to go somewhere where they can privately exercise. So yeah.
Okay, lovely, thank you. Oh, hand up in the back there. Do you want to turn your mic on? What do you think on this?
Well, many obese people would choose rather not to go to a gym and decide just to go home and be non-physical activities rather than go to the gym. So how do you think you can encourage these obese children to actually go to these lessons in the gyms?
Okay, brilliant, thank you. A question there for Group 1. Oh, a few hands going up here now. Can I have your opinion in the back there? Which group were you in?
I'm Group 1.
Okay, yeah, good, you can defend that point then.
I'm Group 3.
Group 3, right.
I say Group 1.
Identity crisis in the back there, right, Group 3. What have you got to say?
My point of view is from the money point of view. The Welsh Government already capped tuition fees at 3,000. They also pay education maintenance allowance. Where's the money going to come from to subsidise gyms? The money they give into school is very low at the moment anyway. So don't you think it's more of a priority that basic education supplements are made, books, pens, pencils, the things that are actually needed in schools? So have we really got the budget to subsidise gym allowances?
Lovely, thank you. Anyone want to respond to that? Yeah, do you want to respond to that?
Yeah, the money will be put into the gym, which can be used in PE lessons as well, and games lessons. And the gym sessions will be run by teachers or sixth formers who are using the coaching element to help them with their coursework for their PE to gain extra grades. So it's not a fact of paying someone to supervise or to run the classes. And the equipment will have more than one use. So
you reckon the funds are there to do it? And you put in your recommendation thinking creatively about promoting sport and exercise. Is this part of that thinking creatively?
No, the thinking creatively was more about outreaching to people who are in the profession of sports, so professional football or rugby players, which a lot of PE teachers have connections to, and then bringing them in to do like assemblies or talk to the pupils to get them more encouraged to go out. And back to the point up there, the target isn't to tackle people who are already obese, it's to prevent as well people becoming obese. So it's more prevention rather than cure.
Okay, brilliant, thanks. Oh, there's a hand up in the back there. Yeah, can I hear from you? What group were you, by the way?
Group 2.
Okay, what have you got to say about it?
Just say if you did at the gym was fine, or if an obese person did come in, it's like maybe a bit intimidating, like the confidence would be a bit low. Say there's people working out who are like quite strong, quite big, it would be like quite hard for them to work out. They'd feel quite shy. What could you do to like stop that?
So an interesting point in this recommendation was the fact that allocated time specifically for young people, but should it be allocated specifically for people who are overweight in that case?
Well, if he was going to pull like gyms in schools, it would be used for everyone. But if the main point was for obese people, then what would you do? Like,
okay, lovely, thank you. Right, I'm gonna turn to group 4 now. So some of you want to put your translation services on. Da I droi grŵp 4 achos fel mae'n digwydd, as it happens, fel mae'n digwydd, nath grŵp 4 ddod ag argymhelliad tebyg ynglyn â canolfannau hamdden. Felly gallwn ni gael rhywun o grŵp 4 i gyflwyno i argymhelliad nhw. Pwy stan ni? Fi'n credu Sean neu... Pwy stan ni? Liam, efe? O, lle ni gael mic draw ato Liam, please, fel fi'n lle clywed wrth gweud yn y cefn. Liam draw grŵp 4 fyna. Am y reswm, oedd eich argymhelliad chi'n debyg iawn, neu gallwch chi wrthwynebu hynny os chi'n meddwl nad yw e'n debyg. Ond Liam, wneud i gyflwyno argymhelliad grŵp 4, please.
Argymhelliad ni yw i darparu gwasanaethau am ddim yng nghanolfannau hamdden cyhoeddus Cymru i bobl ifanc a machnata'r gwasanaeth hynny. A ni'n gallu, mae llawer o bobl yn sôn am y cost o hyn, ond gallwn ni derbyn yr arian yma o efallai, fel fi'n gael, y restructure o'r ffordd yr un trethu ac hefyd gwariant cyhoeddus y Llywodraeth. Yn ogystal â hyn, mae'n actio fel rhyw fath o inspiration i pobl, oherwydd os mae'r facility na am ddim, wedyn gall pobl mynd yna a hefyd mwynhau beth sydd ar gael, y gwasanaeth sydd ar gael. Hefyd, ni oedd am cost eto, bydd y cost yma yn cael ei arbed, bydd y cost yma yn cael ei talu gan arbed y ffaith bod ni'n lleihau y ces sydd angen ar pobl gyda obesity a pobl sydd yn suffro o'r related illnesses fel diabetes.
Felly edrych yn y tymor hir fyna. Gai ofyn, Liam, cyn bod ti'n stelaur, wyt ti'n cyd-fynd ag argymhelliad grŵp 1? Achos o'n i'n gweld tebygolrwydd mawr rhwng y ddoi argymhelliad. Fydde chi'n cytuno bod chi'n cyd-fynd ag grŵp 1 o ran argymhelliad?
Na.
Na. Lle mae'n bot o fel chi'n enw chi?
Na, oherwydd, dwi'n credu yn yr ysgol, fel mae gwersi addysg corfforol, maen nhw ddim yn ymddwyn fel inspiration i pobl. Mae ganddo chi athrawon sydd jyst yn gweiddi ato chi. Dwi'n credu sydd mae hwn yn helpu. Hefyd, dwi'n credu dylai mwy amser cael ei gwario ar fel extracurricular activity, falle gyda math, Saesneg well, dwi'n credu pynciau sydd yn fwy bwysig na addysg.
Okay, felly y pwynt fyna yw cadw fe mas o'r ysgol, cadw fe ar wahân o'r ysgol yw argymhelliad grŵp 4, ie?
Na, nid i cadw allan o'r ysgol, ond lleihau o'n ysgol.
Okay, great. Anybody want to respond to what Group 4 had to say there? Yeah, Group 1, very eager. Maria, can I ask you?
I wanted to respond and say that the point of making it in school is that it's become highly accessible for people and therefore they have an incentive to go there. And I think it's along the same lines because we are debating the childhood obesity, and if you concentrate on more extracurricular activities, it may raise the level of English at a level of different kind, but it won't decrease the level of childhood obesity. So the main point was to make it accessible and available for people inside the school.
Okay, lovely, thank you. You've got your hand up there.
Yeah, it's just to carry on the point that, places to go like that are being closed all over towns everywhere. What about the places where there isn't something available? What are you going to do for those kids? If it's not in schools, like what are they going to do?
Okay, right, we'll take a vote on recommendation number 1 then, because time is flying by. So the recommendation was, I'll get my pen, my paper up because it's an epic one, and you've got it on the screens behind you. We'll go back to recommendation 1. We recommend that the Welsh Government should provide schools with money to improve their gym facilities so that pupils can take free exercise outside lesson times. There should be allocated times specifically for young people. Money should also be provided for their maintenance. We should also encourage schools to think creatively about promoting sport and exercise. If implemented, these ideas would lead to less strain on NHS resources in the long run. Right, you've got 3 options: in favour, against, or abstaining. So can we have a show of hands and a few tellers here, a few people to count the hands?
Kate is counting in the back.
Okay, lovely. So can you raise your hands if you're in favour of this recommendation today by Group 1? Okay, are we happy with the numbers in favour? Okay, and then can we have a show of hands for those against recommendation by Group 1? Okay, and a show of hands of those abstaining from the vote. Oh, I've got a few one behind the pillar there. Okay, and if we can have the results. So, the recommendation has passed with 45 votes for, 30 against and 6 abstaining. So congratulations, Group 1. It seems it pleased our audience today. Our plenary session here today. Right, we'll go to Group 4's recommendation now, because we've started on a similar vein. We'll go to Group 4. Group 4, reit, gai ofyn, ni wedi cael Liam yn siarad. Gai Siôn I godi I drafod y mater ysgwelyd un dda. Os gallwn ni gael y meic drawt o Siôn. Siôn, pam wyt ti'n meddwl bod hi'n bwysig bod gwasanaethau am ddim mewn canolfannau hamdden cyhoeddus Cymru? Ac wyt ti'n cytuno bod angen cadw fe falle ar wahân i'r ysgol, neu siwr wyt ti'n gweld pethau?
Wel, dwi'n meddwl dylse bod bob plentyn yn cael yr un hawl I allu gwneud addysg gorfforol. Ac mae aelodaeth Jim yn drud ofnadwy hyd yn oed mewn canolfannau hamdden sy'n cael ei rhedeg yn y cyngor. Yn costio 22 pence y mis I fi. So lot o bobl methu ffordd yna, so dwi'n gweld yna anheg iawn. Ac fysa fo'n arbed arian yn y tymor hir, oherwydd fysa yna lai o bwysau ar gwasanaeth iechyd ydyn. Ac dwi'n meddwl dylid gwahanu hyn oddi wrth yr ysgolion, oherwydd, wel, eich bod yna rhyw fath o, yn yr ysgolion, mae yna rhyw griw elitaidd, athletaidd eich. Ac eich, os da chi'n neud o tu allan yr ysgolion, bod pawb yn cael yr un cyfle mewn ffordd. Eich bod o'n decach, dwi'n gwybod. A yn yr ysgolion, mewn ysgolion, mae'n diedol o fod yn fwy chwaraeon cysadleuol, ond tu allan ysgolion felly ddod yn wbath mewn ffordd.
Felly, pa oedrannau, ti'n sôn am bobl ifanc fan hyn yn cael mynediad i'r gym I ganolfan am ddim. Pa oedrannau ti'n sôn am o ran bobl ifanc?
Rai sy'n mewn ysgolion uwchradd, mae'n siŵr. Ac os da chi wedi gadael ysgol yn goleg neu gweithio, da chi o fewn yr oedrannau fyny at 18 neu beth fel. Ond mae yna broblem o ariannu'r peth. Felly, gan bod, dwi'n meddwl dylai bod ni'n codi rhywbeth o lefi ar fwydydd sydd ddim yn iach ac diodydd melys ac yn y blaen.
Reit, mae hwnna'n atodol i'ch cynnig chi felly, treth ar fwydydd afiach.
Wel, gan y cynulliad ddim yn pwaru alwon dreth, yn alwon lefi. Ond, neu pam fyddach chi yn cael pwar o wneud hynny, eich wedyn, sy'n ni'n gwneud galwon dreth. Ond ar y funud, roed lefi ar diodydd melys, a bwydydd efo halan a falle. So, bych chi'n cael 2 bolisi mewn un, mewn ffordd.
Okay, great. Anybody want to respond? Diolch I ti, Siôn. Does anybody want to respond to that recommendation? So you've got 2 elements of that. Yeah, what do you want to say?
How are you going to get these leisure centres on board? With paying members going to have to be second to these people who are coming for free, and it's paperwork and insurance if something goes wrong for them. So.
Okay, so a practical issue to consider there. Grŵp 4, chi eisiau dod nôl ar hwnna? Do you want to come back on that, Group 4? Rhywun arall o Grŵp 4 siarad?
Well, usually in leisure centres there are safety courses, so if they do injure themselves while training, then it's on them.
Okay, a practical answer to a practical problem. Unrhyw bwyntiau ar any other points you want to raise on the recommendation by Group 4? Otherwise, we'll move to vote on that then. Right, can I call my counters, counting hands back? Right, raise your hands if you're in favour, against or abstaining for the recommendation by Group 4, which is sef yr un argymell darparu gwasanaethau am ddim yng nghanolfannau hamdden cyhoeddus Cymru i bobl ifanc a marchnata'r gwasanaethau hynny. Felly, codwch eich dwylo os ych chi o blaid. Raise your hands if you're in favour of this recommendation by Group 4. Okay, and if you could raise your hands if you're against the recommendation proposed by Group 4. Okay, and if you can raise your hands if you're abstaining from the vote on the recommendation. Put your hands right up to make it easier to count. Thank you very much. Diolch yn fawr iawn I chi. Okay. So I can tell you the number of people in favour of the recommendation by Group 4 is 15. Those against, 60. And those abstaining, 8. So yn anffodus, Grŵp 4, mae'r argymhelliad nawr I methu. That recommendation falls. Lovely. Okay, we'll go on to the recommendation by Group 2 now then. Can I have somebody from Group 2 to present their recommendation? I've got 2 names here. Well, Kit actually is the name I've got to present this recommendation.
We recommend that the Welsh Government should increase the amount of time spent studying PE in schools, that's through secondary and primary schools. Increase the variety of sports available. At the moment, the majority of schools in Wales will only offer a few select sports. Most commonly, it's football and rugby for boys and netball for girls. It's very stereotypical, which it shouldn't be. So we decided to increase the variety of sports and alternative sports, such as archery and hockey, so that we can increase the amount of enthusiasm people have within sports because they are able to play sports or get involved in things that they wouldn't normally do but may find enjoyable and prefer to other sports. And we want to embed physical education into the core curriculum so that there is as much emphasis on physical activity as there is on subjects like English, maths and science.
Lovely, thank you very much. Right, can we have a discussion on this then? Do you agree that embedding PE into the core curriculum is a good idea, that we should extend the amount of options available? Okay, can I hear from you here at the front? Are you voting? Are you already jumping the gun here? Right, we'll hear from you there. What's your opinion on this?
How are you going to find time within the timetables to actually increase the amount of time spent studying PE?
Okay, an issue of time there. Do you agree, though, that it should be included in the core curriculum alongside... Can I have your opinion there?
I don't think putting any more time into PE would inspire people to exercise. There are going to be people that dislike doing sport, and even increasing the amount of time as an opportunity to do sport, I think the amount of exercise done would still be minimal for some people in the class.
Thank you very much. Can I hear what you've got to say there?
The idea was that we want people to become healthier. I don't think doing archery is going to make people healthier or have healthier lifestyles. The idea that people are becoming unhealthy due to lifestyle choices which are promoted by them through ideas of commodities, those should be curbed, not the idea of, oh, we should go and do archery and find time in the timetable for that, which should be used for proper education, which we don't pretty much have, is usually just memory. So we got all these other stuff as well, like we could ban ads or other sort of stuff which is incredibly unhealthy, or bad the actual commodity which is causing people to become healthy, stuff which contains high glucose corn syrup, stuff found in Coca-Cola, instead of doing archery. So that's my sort of take on it.
Lovely, thank you. Oh, and there's a hand up in the back, and we'll get one more point. Oh, actually, there's... Gallwn ni fynd fan hyn? Yeah, we'll go here because we haven't heard from this group, and we'll come back to group 2 to finish off. Yeah, what's your name? Which group were you in? And your mic seems to be a little quiet. Can we?
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Go for it.
Well, I can't help feeling that forcing people to engage in physical activity through making it a compulsory part of the core curriculum could actually have negative effects in, especially if it's something which they don't enjoy doing. Forcing them to engage in activities which they don't enjoy could have a negative effect on the way that they perceive physical activity and sports in general, and could actually have a detrimental effect on their choices to engage in exercise and physical activity outside of school.
Okay, lovely. And I'll come back to, we'll come back to group 2, to the person who proposed this recommendation, just to finish off, so you can respond before we take a vote.
Yeah, we realise that there may be a negative impact, but having looked at the evidence suggests that although we have, the Welsh Assembly government has been putting more emphasis and giving people more nudges towards doing physical education, the evidence is showing that that is not having any effect whatsoever. That's why we thought about finding more variety of sports so that people have more opportunities to discover a sport that they like. With increasing time, there is already a push by the Welsh Assembly government and across the country to increase the amount of time spent in schools and secondary education. So by increasing the amount of sports that people have available to them and increasing the variety of sports available to them, there's a lot higher chance of finding something that people will be willing to do, and so will make them a lot healthier in the long run.
Okay, lovely. Thank you very much. We'll take a vote on that then, with the recommendation by group 2, which they recommend increasing the amount of time spent studying PE, increase the variety of sports and alternative sports, embedding PE into the core curriculum. Right, can we have a show of hands of those in favour of the recommendation by group 2, please? Put your hands right up so we can count you in. Okay, diolch. And can we have a show of hands of those against, yn erbyn? And then, can I have a show of hands of those abstaining from the vote? Any abstainers this time? Got one over there. 2, 3. Oh, everybody's slowly. Got 3 abstainers. Yeah, lovely. Okay, and the results are for the recommendation by Group 2, in favour, 17, against, 75, and abstaining, 3. Thank you very much. Right, move swiftly on to the recommendation by Group 3 then. Can I ask the proposer for the recommendation in Group 3? Oh, yeah, lovely. Yeah. Go for it.
Before I start, hi, I'm Ashley. Just putting it out there. I'm going to start off with a statistic. In case some of you didn't know, at the moment in Wales, 1 in 3 children under the age of 16 are obese. So I just wanted to put that out there before we start. And our recommendation to the Welsh Government is an in-school workshop promoting the consequences of unhealthy eating amongst teenagers. Now, when we came up with this idea, we took a lot into consideration, especially fiscal problems, so the budgeting of schools. Where I come from, it's a Catholic school, it's funded by the diocese, so there isn't a lot of funding for the school. So if we could think of an idea that would support the budgetary needs of one of the lowest budgeted schools, then it would be able to apply to most state schools. So our idea consists of 1 day per year for each year group, where the year group would go off timetable and they would be given an interactive workshop. This interactive workshop would include interactive activities, lectures, and just your general workshops that you'd maybe do in, say, a PSHE class. Now, along with this, you'd have expert guidance from paediatricians. You could have the life story, or you could have be given examples of people who have previously struggled with weight problems, anyone who's had experiences, and also you'd have general help from health experts. The whole point of this is that you can't control what people eat outside school. It's almost impossible. You can ban adverts, you can levy food, you can improve leisure centres, but a lot of it has budgetary problems. And you can't control what the normal teenager does anyway. So, where do you get them where it's most likely to work, and that's in education? They've got to be there from the age of 5 to 16. After 16, they can leave. But in that time that they're there, you have the power and the possibilities to influence their decisions. So, what I'm recommending is that you use their time in education to properly educate them on the consequences of what unhealthy eating does. Use a negative effect, and it will be more likely to stick with them.
Can I just ask, on the basis of this, because we need to open it up for discussion, but would this be the 1 day workshop a year? That's what you're talking about, is it?
This would be 1 day.
That's your proposal in terms of the in-school workshop promoting consequences of unhealthy eating. Okay, brilliant. I'll open it up. What are your feelings on this? A workshop 1 day a year? Yes. What do you feel on this?
I can't exactly provide any thought on a healthy eating workshop, but I know from experience that in another similar thing, which is No Smoking Day, we did a lot of activities about why smoking was bad, but kids in my year still did it eventually. So you're thinking that it just wouldn't affect most of the teenagers for healthy eating?
Okay, so this is an issue of educating. Educating people is behind basically what you want, yeah? We've got a few hands up. There's one in the back there. Can I get the mic over to the back?
Dych chi'n meddwl sy'n wast o bres I ddeud wrth plant be maen nhw'n gwybod yn barod?
Dal sôn am eiliad I pobl just cael rhoi ffôn yn ymlaen. Lle di fwrw ymlaen nawr. Good, cer amdani.
Dych chi'n meddwl sy'n wast o bres I ddeud wrth plant be maen nhw'n gwybod yn barod?
Okay, so y pwynt y ti fyna yw, maen nhw eisoes yn gwybod beth sy'n dda, beth sy'n ddrwg, pam gwario arian ar gynlluniau sy'n mynd I asgyfnerthu rhywbeth maen nhw'n gwybod yn barod. Why waste money on something that people know already? Do you think that's the case? Do people know already what's good and bad? Yeah, do you want to go?
You said yourself you can't control what a teenager does, so why is their workshop different? So, yeah, you can't. Everyone knows from the adverts, from the other methods of telling them and informing them. So why is the workshop different?
Okay, brilliant, thanks. Can I hear from you there?
I think the point that he was raising is that at the end of the day, it's about educating the person. You cannot just assume that because all else has failed, this will definitely fail. At the end of the day, if teenagers are sort of shown the consequence and it's drilled in every year for the time that they're still in school, hopefully it will help them make better choices later on in life. So I think that's the general idea.
Is 1 day per year enough though? Can I just have you had your hand up there. How do you respond to this? It's on now.
It's on
Go
now.
for it.
Okay. I don't think people do know. People, because a lot of TV, they can't show you like the really graphic things of what actually happens. And I think also it would affect a teenager because teenagers don't know. But also if you get them lower down in the year, and you know, you remember things from primary school where they've shown you photos of what happens when you say fall off your bike without a helmet. You know, things like that stick with you and remind you later on in life when you're about to make a bad decision. You just remembered that thing you got told in school, and it does help to get something that wouldn't quite scare them, but maybe something that will stick through life.
Okay, lovely, thanks. Get them early on is the message there. Okay, we'll have your point and then we'll come back to Ashley to finish off.
Do you think that, because when you're young, from the age of 5 to 16 maybe, you're not the one that decides what you have for food every day, every mealtime? Do you think it's maybe more of a point of educating parents as well? Because obviously, you know, the youth are going to be parents one day, but you need to get them as well. But you need to tell the older generation how bad they are acting to us as well, not just the kids, I think.
Is there another proposal coming out of that? Teach the parents. Anybody want to respond to that point then, that there's the responsibility beyond just the individuals, the young people who are in schools? Yeah, do you want to?
How meant you tell the adults what to do and not tell children? Because the children have to know when they grow up in life, so you're going to have to tell the children as well as the adults.
Okay, lovely, thanks. Okay, Ashley, we'll come back to you to finish off on this then.
So the whole point of this is a recommendation. It's more of an awareness campaign than anything. The way we looked at it was that if you can raise awareness, then what you're hoping is that what the children pick up on, adults can pick up on too, because it's not just adults teaching children, it's also children teaching adults as well. Parents will learn a lot from their children. And I think that's the whole moral behind this, is that it would be a case of people teaching each other. And the budgetary, the fiscal side of it, it's all there. There's not a lot of spending, or major spending, that would have to go into it, because it's already what happens with smoking, with driving, with many other things in comprehensive and primary schools. So as an idea, it's more to raise awareness of the risks that can be incurred.
Okay, lovely, thank you very much. Right, we'll take a vote on that then, if I can have my capable hands back here. Right, can you raise your hands if you're in favour of the motion presented by the recommendation, by Group 3, in-school workshop promoting consequences of unhealthy eating amongst teenagers. Raise your hands if you're in favour of that recommendation. Okay, and if you're against, os ych chi yn erbyn, codwch eich dwylo. Okay, ac os ych chi'n ymatal, if you're abstaining, can you raise your hands? Okay, and on the recommendation by Group 3, we have 52 in favour, 52 o blaid, 37 against, 7 yn erbyn, and 9 abstaining. So that recommendation succeeds. Well done. Right, we'll go on to, wow, a clap as well. Gosh, getting into it now. Right, we'll go on to the final recommendation by Group 5, and I think we have Rosie presenting that recommendation, do we?
Yeah.
Where am I looking?
Over here.
Wait, oh, there you go.
We recommend that the Welsh Government should create intervention programmes to help those overweight. The severely level 4 would be like for them to receive surgery, but we don't believe that that's right. So we're saying level 2 intervention should be weight management for children and families, which is a MEN program, which means mind, exercise, nutrition, and do it. It's currently not available for 14 to 15-year-olds, but as a group we decided it would be important for it to be part of the curriculum in school, so like more PE lessons and stuff like that.
Okay, brilliant, thanks. So this is going back to schools in a way. Why do you think bringing it into the school environment would be important? I'll ask you to carry on that. Yeah, why bring it into the school environment?
Because every day you take part in school, you have no choice but to be there. When you're up to the age of 16, you have to compulsorily be in school. So they have to take part in it. They have no other choice.
And when you say take part, this is just for me, I don't know if anybody else has got these questions, but with that intervention, the level 2, would that be specifically for people who are overweight and obese? Or would that be a general program for everybody?
A general program for everybody, but like you wouldn't have a choice in it. If you were overweight, you can make up excuses and sit out like some people do nowadays. They just sit out PE.
Okay, so it'd be forced upon all students. That's the idea, yeah? Okay, we've got a hand up in the... we'll go to... I've got 2 hands here, actually. Where's the... I'll get you first, then. What do you got to say?
Giving surgery as an option to losing weight, isn't that just undermining the fact of having healthy eating schemes? Because if I think, okay, I could get overweight but then still have surgery free on the NHS, is that going to lead people to take advantage?
Okay, lovely, thanks. And what did you want to contribute?
Surely almost forcing people to take part in PE lessons is like against your right to liberty or private life, to the extent where you put so much pressure on these people to lose weight, whereas they might not want to in the first place. And just because they attend school doesn't mean they necessarily have to attend these PE lessons at the same time. So,
okay, an issue of implementation there. What do you want to add?
To comment on the statement that providing surgery for obese people will not lessen the number of obese people is actually, we should see the condition that a lot of kids, back into the statement before, a lot of kids cannot choose their lunch and dinner and meals because it is being prepared by their parents. And so if they're getting obese because of that, then they will have a choice to do a medical surgery for their own good.
Okay, thanks. Mae dyn ni rhai ddwylo lan y cefn fyna. Gewch chi ddewis. Pwy bynnag sy'n agosau chi roi meic gyda?
I'd like to ask Group 5, why do they think that the average taxpayer should pay for people to have surgery who are obese on the NHS? And aren't there people who are suffering from more serious illnesses or diseases like cancer who deserve that treatment more than people who have just eaten too much?
Okay, Rosie, who do you want to point to in Group 5 if you want somebody else to take on the baton? Who else in Group 5 wants to take on that challenge? Yeah, go for it.
We did suggest that people over the age of 18 should pay for their surgery themselves, but in children it is their parents that feed them and they provide their meals, so it's unfair on the child if they're becoming obese because of their parents' choices. So they should be able to get surgery to help them before they get older.
Okay, responses to that? Yeah.
It's not too bad. It's to taking it to school. And if you put it in school, you've got a lot of overweight people in school who are going to be in these classes they're forced to go to around their peers. And their peers are going to be thinking, it's their fault that they're in that class. And it's going to be, you've got to think of how the person who is overweight or how people who think they're overweight, even if they're not, might feel in those classes.
Thanks. You had your hand. Do you still want to?
You were saying then, obviously, about providing the surgery, before they become an adult. But surely, at the moment, if you were to have this surgery done privately, if I walked into consultation now, they would turn me away straight away because of my age. So really doing it before they become an adult isn't really feasible. So they'd be in a situation really where they'd be paying anyway. Do you want to try and then risk a child's life by putting them under this surgery before they're really old enough to take it? And by the time they are old enough, they'll probably be in a means where they can fund it themselves.
Okay, a mae llaw lan yn y cefn fyna.
I agree with that statement. And again, it's completely unethical to even suggest plastic surgery for someone who's under 18. And even if they have to pay at the age of 18, then that's just going to increase the number of childhood obesity and resulting to surgery.
Okay, diolch, thank you. Danny, do you want to respond to that?
I wanted to add up on the point that was made about taxpayers' money, that we say that it's actually parents' fault that children under the age of 18 become obese. But if we look at the amount of fast food restaurants and the amount of teenagers there, we can see actually that it's more of their choice rather than their parents' choice. So I don't really, in my opinion, it's not fair to take the taxpayers' money to pay for the wrong choices of other people.
Right, interesting. Right, a few closing. Right, we haven't heard from you before. Let's hear what you've got to say.
A couple of points being thrown around about it being forced onto the school curriculum. I don't really see a point why PE shouldn't be treated differently to maths and English. I mean, I was forced to take maths at GCSE and I hated it, but I'm glad that I did take it because it's basic. It's absolutely essential for basic life. And I think that PE is too. I mean, to be healthy is essential to live a decent life. So I think that it should be put on par with maths and English.
Anybody want to respond to that? Yeah. Do you want to come back on that?
Is an hour a week of PE really going to prevent someone from being overweight? Because in my school, we still do PE for an hour, and still there's people who are overweight.
Do you want to come back on this for group 5?
An hour a week exercise is better than nothing.
Oh, I can feel the tension rising. Right, who have you got in the back there? Group 5, are you group 5 again?
I'm group 3. Yeah. When I did PE in my school, I noticed that the obese children, even though they were forced to take PE, they didn't necessarily do anything in the sessions. They just playing rugby or something. They just stood on the touchline, just talking to each other and kicking rocks and stuff. They weren't doing any physical activity.
Okay, without mentioning any names or getting personal, Ashley, what do you want to say on this?
I'd just like to point out that not all obese people are lazy. Because that seems to be the generalisation that's going on here, is that obese people tend not to do a lot. They sleep and they eat, and that's about all they do. That's not the case. I am classed as being obese myself, morbidly obese in fact. I weigh 18 stone, but I still manage to train 6 times a week. And I don't see that as being a problem. So some people seem to generalise a stereotype that obese person, anyone could be obese, over the weight of 15 stone. I know lots of people that are obese who aren't actually obese, if that makes sense, people who shouldn't be classed as it. So I just wanted to sort of address the stereotypicalness of people being obese, that's all.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, on that note, I think we'll have to draw this to a close and we'll have to take a vote on Group 5's recommendation, the final recommendation of the day. Right, Group 5 recommend intervention programmes to help overweight... it's a very disjointed piece here. Right, we recommend that the Welsh Government should create intervention programmes to help those overweight, severely overweight, with surgery. Also, weight management for children and families. As a group, we decided that it should be a part of the curriculum to also include more PE. Right, we'll take a vote on that recommendation. Then raise your hands if you're in favour of that, another whopper of a recommendation. Okay, thank you. And those against the recommendation, yn erbyn yr argymhelliad, y gwelliant mae heddi? A wedyn rheini sy'n ymatal, those abstaining from the vote. Got one here. Do you want to raise your hands right up if you're abstaining? Okay, so the final results for Group 5's recommendation, argymelliad Grŵp 5. 19 in favour, 19 o blaid, 76 against, 76 in erbyn, a 2 yn ymatal, 2 abstaining. So that recommendation succeeds. Well done. Right, so we've gone through all the recommendations. Fails, sorry, well corrected. So, to summarise, Group 1's recommendation was approved. Group 2's recommendation was rejected. Group 3's recommendation was approved. Group 4's recommendation was rejected. And Group 5's recommendation was rejected. Thank you all for a great discussion. I hope you enjoyed that. It was a bit of a whistle-stop tour through it all, but it was quite enjoyable to listen to. I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you. Diolch yn fawr i chi gyd.